So thank you all for being here today. I really appreciate it. We've been really anxious to get this product launched and built and to share with you all, because for those of you that have been doing lead for a long time, I think you're really going to like this. For those of you that are new to lead, I think you're really going to like this too, because it's a lot simpler than the old process. And we're going to be all learning it together. And things are going to be getting updated on a weekly basis. As we like make tweaks and improvements to this. So just be patient with us while we go through this process. Today, we're just going to be going through some very high level stuff because there's still a lot of data quality issues. For lead coordinators that have already been on my lead email contact list, I've sent out 2 emails so far. The first one was on September 15th. And the second one was last Friday. I think that was the September 30th. The second email, actually, I think both of them. There's a lot of information in those emails. One of them points to the September 2022 cases newsletter with some preparation for lead reports that could be getting run in Infinite Campus. A lot of districts have done it, but there's still a lot that haven't. So what we're going to be focusing on today is a lot of data quality issues that you can be working on this next week to kind of clean up your data. And you're going to see, like, as soon as these issues are cleaned up and then we get a new Infinite Campus file, you're going to see your percentages of your clears and your out of field and your errors fluctuate, hopefully for the better. Okay. So welcome today. We're going to be covering the lead updates. Lead is now open as of just today, I believe, to you all. It is much simpler and a different process than what you all have been used to before. There's no more generating extracts in Infinite Campus and uploading that to the lead application. We are receiving weekly data pool files from Infinite Campus on Sundays. So what the data you all are looking at in your system today is what was pulled from Infinite Campus this past Sunday. So just keep that in mind. If you know that one of your teachers has got their certificate processed like yesterday, it's not going to be reflected in today's pool, in today's data. But after that information updates and the new file is pulled this coming Sunday, on Monday, when you look at your file, look at your lead dashboard, you will see that that information should be reflected then. Lead is going to be more informational and helpful to districts. We've got a lot of things that are coming that data you can drill down and find more helpful information, like how many emergency certificates were in your district, how many temporary provisional certificates are issued in your district for a given year. Those are things that are coming. We don't have those features ready yet, but those are kind of what we're working at on the horizon. District lead coordinators can drill down to view the data, and you'll see some features. And again, just things will, if there's something that seems a little wonky or not exactly like what it should be, be patient. We're going to keep improving these features. Then one of the biggest changes is that districts, you're not going to see the out of population errors for special ed or special populations that you've seen in the past. Special ed student populations should all now be assigned to a case manager in Infinite Campus. As long as that case manager has the appropriate certification to oversee the needs of the student's IEP, the teachers, the special ed teachers, don't actually have to be attached to the courses anymore for those special populations to clear. Gifted and ESL populations are a little different. We're using a percentage. I won't get into that right now, but those populations should also clear unless a particular course is all gifted students or all ESL students. LEAD is now going to be a year-long resource that is available to districts. So now that your LEAD dashboard is available, it's going to be there all year long. It's not going to just be available during the fall and spring reporting period. We are still reporting in fall and spring, but you can monitor your LEAD dashboard from the first day of school, from as soon as you start putting in the data, and it's pulling from Infinite Campus. You'll be able to identify where your issues are in August rather than waiting until LEAD opens, what has been the case in the past. You will districts will not have, there will not be a sign off feature like what we've had in the past that you have to sign off. We are going to take a report of statewide of what all the districts, what are all the issues, the out of field, the data quality issues that are remaining as of November 15th. So November 15th is still the date required in statute for us to finalize the report, but on November 16th, you're still going to have access to this. We will be providing a LEAD user guide. We've just been busy putting together this dashboard and testing it right now. So there will be a user guide available. A lot of it will probably be taken from some of the screenshots of this PowerPoint. This training, it says Zoom training, this recording to this Teams meeting training is going to be provided to you all in an email, probably later today, along with a copy of this PowerPoint. And there was something else I was going to include in that. I can't remember what it was. Lisa, you and I even talked about it. Anyway, all this information that's provided today is going to be emailed to you all in the LEAD coordinator's email. So a copy of the training, the PowerPoint, and anything else that I'm not thinking of right now. What did this information was previously provided, and it says what districts can be doing now. If you haven't done these steps yet, you can also be working on these steps this next week. Hopefully a lot of districts have already looked at this, but you can run your district role report, make sure that your certified staff list is current. If there's people that are showing up on your staff that are no longer employed with your district, click the red trash can to remove them. That doesn't delete them from our system. It doesn't delete them from your personnel records. It just removes them as an active staff member. This is done in staff management section of KEX. This process has to be done by anybody that is HR director role or above. So superintendent, superintendent designee, and HR director. Those are the only roles in KEX that have the ability to do staff management. If your role is just lead coordinator and you're don't have the role of HR director, you'll need to probably work with your HR director to work on that. District role report. This is HR director's district role report can be filtered and distributed to principals if needed. Also, you can use the district role report to validate or enter in missing EPSB ID numbers, but we'll also show you some stuff in this training. Refer to the September CASIS newsletter that was released by KDE School Data Services. When you get this link, there's a link to this right here in the bullet. There's a lot of information in there if you haven't read over it yet on preparing for LEAD. So accessing the LEAD dashboard, you're going to log into KEX. You should now see that you have a LEAD option at the top of your screen. Now you'll see that I have a lot more than you all do, but you're looking for the one that says LEAD. If you're not sure if you've got, or if you're not seeing the LEAD tab in the bar across the top of your screen, then it probably means you don't have the role of LEAD coordinator assigned to you. Get with your HR designee, your HR director, superintendent, or superintendent designee to add that role to you. You can check your roles by going to profile and then to account settings on the left-hand side. So if you are, it is perfectly fine if a district has more than one lead coordinator assigned at that district, especially if there's going to be multiple people who are going to be working on this. So when you get in, now right now my screen shows the statewide results, but you're going to see your district-wide course validations. This is going to look like a little pie chart. Everything in green is your clears. These are your course assignments, your teacher assignments that are cleared in LEAD. You're going to see potentially, probably some out of field. You're going to see your errors in red. And in this example, you'll see there's a little tiny sliver here that shows vacancies. Any one of these pie sections you can click on to expand. Over to the right-hand side of the screen, I don't think this is ready yet, but there's going to be more graphical data over there. We don't have that ready yet. We wanted to get this in your hands so you all could start doing some of the cleanup of the data quality issues, but look for that to come in the future. Your pie chart graph is going to show the percentage that are clear, the percentage of errors, and the percentage of out of field, and the percentage of vacancies. Now, when I took the screenshot of this particular district, they did not have any vacancies. So you don't see that little blue sliver like you did in this one here. You can click on each segment to expand that section. And for, I apologize to our friends in Jefferson County. We are working on getting, you all are probably not seeing any data yet for Jefferson County due to the size of Jefferson County and the way that some of the school codes are set up in the SHRM tables. Your all's data is not showing up yet. So this is going to be more informational. You won't be able to interact with your dashboard just yet, but we will promise we're working on that. We're going to get you all set up so you can see your data too. Below the pie chart, at the bottom section of your screen, you're going to see the course validation results section. This is going to, if you haven't clicked on the pie chart segments yet, you're going to see all of your data kind of grouped together. So and this view has actually changed. I took the screenshot like early yesterday, and by yesterday afternoon, Leslie had informed me that they had changed the view and of what you're going to see here. But I kept this screenshot in here because I wanted to show you this category column that shows that, error and clear. So this is where everything is displayed in one list. But when you click on the pie chart segments, it's going to change to show you just your errors. If you click on the error section, or if you click on the clears, it's just going to show you all your clears. So next slide is going to show you what this looks like now. The course validation results page was just updated to provide more useful information to the districts on a single screen. So not only are you going to see your district, your school, the educator's name, but you're also going to see the course number and the section number. And then in this example, you're looking at the out of field issues because it says category out of field, and then there's comments on the out of field message. I've also highlighted up here to the upper right of the image, there's a text filter box that you can type in. So if there's a particular message that you're looking for, or a particular person's record that you're looking for, you can type in that filter box to filter down to that. So going back to the pie chart, we're going to examine clicking on the error segment. So if you click on the error segment in this example, and I don't even remember which district this is, but this district still had a lot of data quality issues as far as like information that was missing. The course validation results, when you click on this, it's going to reset to show all errors. Errors mean data quality issue. The common errors that you're going to see, these may be the only errors that you might see on your report. But the biggest one that I've seen so far testing this data is no EPS BID provided in Infinite Campus. I know that KDE's been saying for years, and we've been, letting districts know that EPS BID numbers need to be put into Infinite Campus. This is where this is where it has to be done now, because those results are going to show up as errors for your district if you don't have a valid EPS BID number in for that certified staff member. Also, the other errors: no staff record found, no primary teacher assigned, content required for course code, and invalid course code. And I just put placeholder X in here. There will actually be a 6-digit KDE course number showing up if you get this message, it'll tell you what course number is invalid. Which again, for those of you that have been doing lead for a long time, sometimes that's a huge improvement just in itself, because sometimes you would have to try to figure out why is something not showing up when you got a course code, and we would have to determine that it's used, it would be because there was an invalid course number used. When you go into your error section, so in this district that I was using here, this particular error segment was at the bottom of your page under the course validation. It'll show like how many entries you have. This particular district had 397 error entries. Some of the error entries were for the same person because they had multiple teaching assignments. All of that district's errors were due to 3 issues. No EPSB-ID number was provided, no staff record was found, or no primary teacher assigned. For each of these issues, I've put in red here what you need to do to fix it. District needs to add the person's EPSB-ID and Infinite Campus to the active district employment record. No staff record found. District needs to search for the teacher's person ID and ensure that the district employment and district assignment is active for the current school year. No primary teacher assigned. District needs to assign a primary teacher to the class who has a valid EPSB-ID number. So, don't assign your football coach to a class if that person is not, doesn't have a valid EPSB-ID number. If you're getting this no primary teacher assigned because this person is, or because this class is a current vacancy, or something similar to that. I'm going to get into that here, I believe, on this slide. So this was some information that went out recently from Lisa Keeter's group, Division of School Data Services. In the past, again, those of you that have been doing lead for a long time, you remember how we would, use the social all ones, call this teacher vacancy or something similar to that. Well, we've changed the way that we're doing the vacancies. These are the only EPSB-ID numbers that we are going to use for vacancies. We're no longer using the placeholder SSNs because we're getting away from SSNs. These 3-digit EPSB-ID numbers are the placeholder numbers for, we've got 1 number for college professor, we've got 10 numbers for vacancies. Keep this slide handy, keep it, and this will probably require that some of your vacancies that you may have already put in, you may have to go in and change these, but vacancy 1, 2, 3, all the way to 10. Here to the left is the corresponding EPSB-ID number that you would use. And you can use, if you have more than 1 vacancy in a single school, then for the first vacancy, use 261, for vacancy 1. For the second vacancy in the same school, use the number for vacancy 2, so on and so forth. I know Jefferson County and maybe some other schools nowadays, you may have multiple vacancies in the same school. It's only if you have more than 10 vacancies in the same school where we may have to add some different vacancies, but I don't think we've had that issue yet, knock on wood. If you've got multiple vacancies in multiple schools, you can reuse the same EPSB-ID number. So if at your elementary school you've got a vacancy, use 261. If at your middle school you've got a vacancy there, you can reuse 261. At your high school, same thing. It's just when you have multiple vacancies in the same school, you cannot use the same placeholder number in the same school. The 271 number up here, this is the placeholder for college professors. So if you have a college professor who is employed by the university, not by your school district, who is teaching a dual credit class, you'll use this placeholder EPSB-ID number 271. and again, the SSN is not needed on this. And user accounts should not be assigned to these person records.
Crystal?
Yes.
I put a link in the chat, but the census staff information data standard on the cases data standards page has full information about using these records and more information about it. So they don't have to keep this one slide, and it talks about how to add a person and get the whole thing set up, because you've got to add a person to put these IDs on. So
gotcha. Okay.
Or you can reuse ones if you've already got vacancies from the past, you can just add this EPSB ID to those placeholder accounts from the past. So you don't have to make a new one.
Okay. Thanks, Lisa. I appreciate that. The other error issues that you may encounter. So one is content required for course number or for course code not provided. That's how it will be displayed in the comment section. This means that the district has used a state course code that requires a content code be entered. The district needs to manually assign a valid content to each section of the course based on the content being taught. So these are the 8 course numbers that this error is going to apply to. World languages, technical language. If the school district is using this course number and you're teaching German, then you would enter content of German, Spanish, enter Spanish. So you have to make sure that you're entering a content for the area that's being taught in this course. The most common one that we see is this last one there, which is the 909999 school defined course code. This course number is often used, but not often. Many times it's used incorrectly. We've got an example of that coming up. But a lot of times it's used incorrectly because the district doesn't assign a content to that course that's being delivered in that class. Other issues that you may encounter is invalid course code. There will be a 6-digit course number listed in this that actually tells you what the invalid course number is. Districts need to use the state course code that most closely matches the content of the course. Check the KDE Searchable State Course Code Database, or the SSCCD. I've linked it here to validate what course numbers are active. Also on that searchable course code page, you can refer to the helpful links section on the right. I've got a screenshot coming up. And if you cannot find a course number that most closely matches what it is that is actually being taught in the class, email the KDE course codes team with any questions that you have. So if you're offering a course in something and you cannot find a course that closely matches that, send your email to them, because if you email me, I'm just going to have to send it to them anyway.
Hey, Crystal.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, we have a question that was related to the subs before we get too much further.
Sure.
So Ms. Hatton asked if we have a long-term sub in place because we haven't found an applicant for hire, should the sub be the teacher of record, or should it be recorded as a vacancy?
It should be recorded as a vacancy. It should be recorded as a vacancy. And Lisa, this is still where the subs can still be attached as an additional teacher on the course so that they can access campus and gradebook, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So
I put an answer. I put an answer in the chat, and we're working on expanding the guidance in the data standard for this.
Okay.
But you can only take attendance by regulation if you are a certified teacher. And that means emergency certified as a sub also works for that. So it's kind of touchy as to who you can list where and what permissions you can give them. But if they are, you would always have the vacancy as primary teacher. If your long-term sub is certified, where they're allowed to take attendance, they can be listed as teacher, and they can update the grade book, and they can take attendance. But if they're not, you're going to have somebody else helping with that, like a guidance counselor that would have access to the grade book to help with entering grades. So,
okay, thank you.
But an emergency sub's not going to clear lead, but vacancy will. So
yeah. So
different.
If you've got a sub in there, basically short answer, if you got a sub in there, you still need to keep the position posted as a vacancy, list it in campus as a vacancy using the vacancy placeholder. And then your certified sub would be the additional teacher on the course. Okay, so on the I'm going to jump ahead one screen. This is a screenshot. Those of you that have not gone to the state searchable course code database yet, this is kind of the landing page when you get here. There is under this section here on the right that says helpful links. Now, not everything on here has been kept up to date, but the stuff that's most important to what you all are going to do or what your Infinite Campus person is going to need is still valid and up to date. That is the one that I've got the arrow pointing to, which is the deprecated course codes and what to use instead. At the bottom of that screen, there is a tab for, it's an Excel spreadsheet, and there's a tab at the bottom for each year. And they've kept that up to date. And as course codes, state course codes are deprecated or removed from the state course code list, they each for a given year, they will indicate if there is a course that should be used instead. So that would be a very helpful document to use. And then also you'll notice that there is a guidance document for using course code 909999. There's one for 950001 as well as 960001. There is, and I'm going to go back to this screen here. So, and you're going to see the information. That's why I wanted to show you where those were, because I got this coming up here. So courses set up for tracking groups of students for activities, clubs, sports, testing groups, planning periods, etc. You need to use a new state course code. I believe this one is new this year, 909995. This is roster only, non-instructional. There will probably be a lot of courses that will need to be updated in campus to this. One of the examples coming up, you'll see that this would be a change that I would advise to the district to make. Ensure that all of these placeholder state codes are only used on placeholder courses and follow the guidance documents. I'm not super familiar with what all of these are, but the Residential STEM Academy 800-500, roster only non-instructional, dual credit placeholder course number, and digital learning placeholder course number. Now we're back to the searchable course code database screen. This just shows you at the top here, you'll see a select year. So if you're wanting, and this will only show you 2 years view. So you'll be able to see last year's view, and you'll be able to see 22-23 view. Once the course codes team releases the course code changes for 23-24, then you'll see next year's courses as well as the current year. Okay, so back to our dashboard, viewing your error details. So when you click on the pie chart and you just to see what your errors are, you're going to see this screen view down here at the bottom. And again, we've hidden the district name, the school, and the teacher's name. But you're going to see the course number, the section number. You're going to see the category as error, and then you're going to see what the error comments are. I've shown some errors here just to kind of show you what features are available here. There's some little up and down arrows to the right of each of these category headers. If you click on that, it's going to filter your error comments and group them together. So you're going to get all of your no primary teacher assigned all on together. And then you're going to get all your no EPSB-ID number provided grouped together. You can also, again, click on the filter box, and you could start typing in there and it'll filter to just what it is that you're typing. Finally, once you've gotten to the record that or records that you want to look at, click the little blue edit button to the right. It's edit, but it'll open up a course detail view so you can see more information about this. And this is what that view is going to look like. This is an error example for the content required for course code not provided. In this case, this is one of the examples I was telling you about. This school district has used course number 909999, which is the school defined course code, but I can tell by looking at the name of the course, they call this planning. Well, a planning period should not be given the 909999 course number. It should be the 909995, the non-instructional content. So that if you see that you've used a non-instructional, a course that's supposed to be for a non-instructional time, if you're not the Infinite Campus person, but you're the one that works with the IC person in your district, let them know that this course number in a case like this would be wrong. If this was an actual issue with, because this error is content not required, this 909999 requires that a content be provided. So if this course, let's say, was, I don't know, basket weaving, you would have to like indicate a core content. You have to select a core content like art or visual art, whatever that if it's an art VPA course, you would need to select an appropriate content for that course. If it truly was something that you had to use the school defined course code. But I can tell on this one, it's a planning period. They actually should not have used this course number. Another example is invalid course number. In this example, the school district has used a course number 320106. Work-based learning is what they call this course. This course number, if I were to go back and look up this course number in the state course code list, the searchable course code database, this is not an active course number. Chances are the district may have rolled forward a schedule in Infinite Campus from a previous year, and they do that each year, but this course number has been deprecated either for a year or maybe even for several years if they are just keep rolling their calendar forward. There is a report in Infinite Campus that will help you identify which course numbers that you all have that are no longer valid course numbers. So if you get this error, you need to find an active state course code that would have replaced this one. Next, we're going to look at some of the out of field messages. Now, as I was looking at some of the data, and I don't know if this, because I haven't looked near all the districts, but to me, all of the issues that I was seeing was the comment that says educator does not have permissions for blank and fill in the blank. There was multiple things that I saw, but it was like, educator does not have permissions for mathematics. Educator does not have permissions for English, et cetera, et cetera. The reason for this comment can be many. So maybe the certificate has expired. Maybe the certificate that the person holds is for a different content or a different grade range. Maybe the certificate doesn't cover a specific disability if it's a special ed class or something like that. So there could be multiple reasons, but this is the comment that you're going to see for out of field. Now let's dive down a little bit into that. In this out of field example, you're going to see on your screen, there's going to be, the name of the teacher here. So in this example that I have redacted, before I redacted this, I looked up this person's name, and there was a blue hyperlink here. And when it's a blue hyperlink, you can click on that hyperlink and it's going to take you over to where you can view that teacher's credentials. I think it actually right now takes you to their profile page, and then you have to click credentials. But I think we're gonna try to improve that to maybe take you straight to their credentials page, so you don't have to do an extra click. That's probably Leslie. I hope that's an easy fix. But this person that I looked up, holds only the PEEF elementary certification for K through 4. It allows them to teach up to grade 6 in a K-6 setting, but this person, when I looked at our comment, educator does not have permissions for world history. Another one was U.S. history, and there was a whole bunch of other stuff. This was just the top 3 that I cut for this image. If you click on the blue box over here to the far right to look at the course detail, when I looked at this, I noticed that this teacher was teaching at the high school. So I'm like, well, an elementary teacher doesn't really have anything that they can teach in high school in secondary grade level, unless it was something like like the computer lab, like one of those areas that any valid certificate can teach. So this definitely seemed like this teacher was probably teaching out of grade range, but there could be a couple things going on. This is going to be where the district needs to kind of investigate a little bit more with, contact the principal, find out what this teacher is doing at the school. So this person is assigned to courses at the district's high school, and they are not certified for secondary anything, but secondary social studies. Based on the screen shot, review the instructional setting and the teaching method in Infinite Campus. 0, 1, and 0, 1 are the defaults. And you'll see back here, instructional setting 0, 1, teaching method 0, 1. Those are the defaults. And that means direct instruction and on-site classroom. If this is a direct instruction course and this teacher truly is teaching high school social studies content, that teacher needs to be emergency certified to teach secondary social studies. Or maybe they're in the process of getting highly qualified application, or maybe they're getting, into a proficiency program. But nevertheless, right now, as of the time that this data was pulled, that teacher was not certified for secondary social studies. If this teacher is supervising a course delivered by a digital learning provider, then the teaching method needs to be updated to something other than 0, 1, because that teacher is the digital learning providers. Since the teacher is not providing the content instruction, they're facilitating the course. They, any valid certified teacher can facilitate a course through a digital learning provider. And this is a lot of times, this is like the credit recovery type stuff. Okay, and out of field. Yes.
We're getting some very, very specific, exactly for my district, this one error or what I don't see kind of questions in the chat.
Right.
Those are going to need to be sent to via email.
Yes.
Or held for the October 18th
yes.
office hours, correct?
Yes, please. Today we're just kind of doing a very high level overview to get everybody started in this. I'll have to, so another thing, I haven't got to this. I'm going to be out on vacation next week. I am not going to be available next week to answer your questions. So that's why we're going to give you all the opportunity to get in there, clear up your data quality issues, and explore and kind of get your questions prepared. If you've got something that is, and I'll get more into this at the end of this presentation, but if you've got something that is specific about a teacher certification, well, I thought this certification could teach this, contact the certification staff members. My team, if it's certification related, they'll be able to answer your questions. Some of the Melinda Penny, I believe she's on this call too. She's one of my staff members. She's got some knowledge around LEAD. Now she's seeing this for the first time today too. So she's not going to be able to answer your questions yet on how to navigate this page. But if it's something that is specific to LEAD, you can email the LEAD team email. There's a slide on this here at the end, so just kind of hold that. But yeah, today is just a broad overview to get everybody started on LEAD. Here is an example of an out of field for somebody who is a special ed teacher. Oh, sorry, let me go back. This is a special ed teacher record. But the special type of this person's class was not set to 05 special education classroom. So if this is a resource classroom and this teacher is only, we're thinking, I did not dig into the data, but when I was talking with Lisa this morning, this is likely an FMD classroom because this teacher had about 9 or 10 records on their thing, and they were teaching math, and they were teaching life skills, and they were teaching social studies, and they're teaching English, and they were teaching everything. But when I went into the course detail and clicked on the blue button, it said the special type was 01. It wasn't set to a special education classroom. In a case like this, where the teacher is delivering the instruction and it is a special ed classroom and not a student going into an English teacher's class, a student with an IEP who's in an English teacher's classroom, those are the ones that are going to be tied to the case manager. In a case like this, where it is a special ed teacher, make sure that special education classroom 05 type is marked on that course. Again, here's an example where you will see the blue hyperlink. You'll see the teacher's name. You'll see their EPSB ID number if it's been entered in campus, and you can click that and it'll take you right to their certification information. So again, yes.
Just one add-on, that special section type has to be specified at the section level. It can't be done at the course level. So if you've got 15 sections of it, you've got to update each one of them individually. So make sure they've all got it. And when you click the blue hyperlink, you can see that this one has special section type 01, which is just the standard general classroom, which is why not going through our special logic. So
gotcha. So for next week, continue to clean up your district data. Like I said at the beginning of this, look back at those emails I sent on the 15th and the 30th. If you've not gone through those processes of cleaning up and adding your EPSB ID numbers, you've got to do that. That's the only way that your data is going to get cleared up. As much as you can get done before Sunday of this week, you may log in to KEX on Monday if you put in a lot of work and cleaning up those data quality issues between now and the end of the day today or even tomorrow. You may log in on Monday and you'll see that your pie chart, your errors might go from 30% to 15% because a lot of your issues may be due to EPSB ID numbers missing. So examine the data available on your dashboard. You're not going to break it. Get in there, click around, look at it, explore. Make note of any questions or suggestions even that you have. A new IC file will upload Sunday. This will happen every Sunday. And then the data will update each week based on the new IC file, as well as the new certifications that are processed. So anybody that, we've processed several hundred applications this week. So based on what your record shows, what you're looking at on your dashboard right now, because if we've processed somebody's renewal or temporary provisional this last week, that issue is probably going to no longer show up as an out of field issue next Monday when you log back in. Make note of your questions. Hold your, if you've got big questions that would be applicable to everybody or that would be informative to everybody, bring those to our virtual office hour session on Tuesday the 18th. We're going to try to do this through Zoom again next time. I have not sent out, that was the other thing I'm going to send out in the email. I'm going to send out a link to the Zoom virtual office hour session that we're going to have on Tuesday, October 18th at 10 a.m. Bring your questions at that time. We won't get into district specific questions unless it's something that you can kind of, we've got a teacher who and the virtual office session, it'll be an hour. You can drop in, get answers to question or something pop out, or you can stay and listen. That will be recorded as well. A link to this session will be sent out later today, along with this recording and the PowerPoint. General lead questions. If it's something specific to your district, you can send that to leadteam@education.ky.gov. Again, you may not get a response this next week because I will not be here. And Melinda may be able to answer some, but we will definitely start working on those when I get back the following Monday. Again, certification staff. My team is available if you've got general questions, if you want to check the status of an application. I think Todd told me this morning, as of an hour before, the hour before we started this meeting, we only had 47 applications waiting to be reviewed. So everything else has either been reviewed and marked deficient or reviewed and processed. So we're processing pretty much the same day that we receive an application right now. So that's all I have for you all. At this point,
have lots of questions, Crystal.
Okay, so let me switch over to.
And I think maybe Leslie can answer one of these. We've got somebody that's looked up a teacher that says they're out of field. When they go to the permissions, they're seeing the content listed. What are the next steps? And what I'm wondering, Leslie, is will they see the same error message if the teacher is out of field for content and if their grade level of the students doesn't match their certification?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, so it could be because of the grade level. And that is a perfect segue, Lisa. So just everybody know that Lisa and Crystal have your best interest at heart. They are providing feedback, continually about the types of data that we should be showing. On the initial display. You'll notice your display is already different than what Crystal had in her PowerPoint. And then also when you click details, the information that is helpful to you, you added content. We made a couple of changes there already. And then we are working on, it's a little bit trickier to get the data in there, but grade ranges so that you can see, okay, this is also a grade range issue. So just as much information as we can, Crystal and Lisa are giving that information so that we know, what to show you that's helpful so that you're not having to dig. Print, yes, we'll get a print feature on that page. I am going to, in the meantime, get a report available for you where you can print it out from the report. And the report section, so you'll have the full file that you can work from, but then we'll add it to that page as well. It's a code change, so it takes a little bit longer to get that in. But yes, I just want to make sure that you all know that this is definitely a work in progress. We're going to continue to improve it. And I know that we're getting some errors. I think that you all trying to pull back all that data. Lisa, how many rows records does it end up being? Like 600,000 records or something crazy like that. And so I think everybody trying to pull it back at one time is just like, whoa, hold on. So I've got my team working on that part of it. So we'll see what we can do there. And then, yeah, just give it a minute and it's gonna kind of simmer down as we're not all in it at the very same time. And then we can adjust our servers for it as well.
And one thing I'll add to that also, our leadership team, our associate commissioner has even talked to Dr. Glass, and they know that, we're building a new system basically from scratch. We completely scrapped the old lead system, took some of the business rules, looked at the statute, looked at the regulation. What does the statute require us to do? Well, the statute requires us to identify educators who are out of field. So that's why the only issues are broken down to either errors, but those are data quality issues, and out of field issues. Well, out of field may mean multiple things. It may just mean the person doesn't have a certification. It may mean the person had a certification, but it's now expired. In the past, we had lots of different error messages. Everybody kind of falls under out of field because that is what is identified in statute. We're going to continue to improve this process as we go, but it's almost like the lead this year is kind of, we're not calling it a pilot because it's not a pilot, because KDE also doesn't like the term pilot. We're calling it a field test. So we know that it's going to be bumpy at times. We know that there's going to be improvements that are made on a weekly basis. There's going to be updates. What you see on your screen today, you may have a completely different view come next week. There may be some updates that are input that it's going to look completely different. I mean, just yesterday, we got the, Randa was able to add in the course number and section number because we knew that that's going to be useful information to the district to see that right on your course validation screen, rather than having to dig into Infinite Campus and find what course number and section number is causing the issue. So things like that are going to continue to happen. And LEAD is not intended to be punitive. It's intended to be informational. And so as we tweak this continually between now and, until we get it to where we want it, just realize that things are going to change, and we're going to continue to improve it. And Leslie or Lisa or Todd, I think you might be on here. Does anybody have anything else to add?
Crystal, this is Steve. I was just wondering what should the folks in the districts do next week and the week after if they've got specific questions?
So if they've got something specific, if it's regarding a teacher certification, it's like, we've got a teacher that's teaching blank, and it's, whatever. If they've got a question regarding a teacher certification, contact the certification staff. If it's something specific to the dashboard, if it is if they're getting an error message, like on the dashboard, if they're trying to pull something and they're getting an error message, Leslie, do you want them to file a support ticket, or do you want them to email the lead team and let us reach out to you? What would be your preference on?
Yeah, if it's an error type of message, if you'll send that to our support team, not what you're experiencing right now. We know that a bunch of you right now are having trouble getting your data to load. And like I said, I have my team working on it. Everybody hitting their lead data at one time is hitting our servers awfully hard. So we're working on that, and we'll get that adjusted so that it's not an issue. So right now, please don't send those to support. But next week, if you're working in the system and you experience some type of an error, if you will reach out to our support team, that would be great.
If it is a lead question specific to your school district, email that lead team email. Melinda and I have access to that. We will, while I'm out, we'll probably get, somebody else on that, maybe Todd, that might be able to help with certificate, because those are usually, even though you think it's a lead question, a lot of times it ends up being a certification question. It's something that has to do with the certificate that's not permitting the person to teach something. So yeah, if you've got something like that, use the lead team email, leadteam@education.ky.gov. If it's certification related, contact the certification team. Somebody just posted in this searchable, Lisa, I think, did that, the searchable state course code database video tutorial. I did see a question in the comments about that a school district has a private school showing up in their list. I know that has something to do with SHRM codes that are reported under a particular district. If you don't have any staff assigned to it, to that school, and it's just showing up on your list, I wouldn't worry too much about that right now. That would be something that we might be able to, if they shouldn't be showing, we might be able to do something about that later, but it's really not, I don't think it's going to have any any negative implications on your lead report. So where we're trying to launch this, those type of issues, if it's showing up, but you don't have any staff there, I would just kind of ignore it being there right now. We are trying to get, as private schools contact us that need access, like, Christian Academy of Louisville, they're located in Jefferson County, but they're their own entity, but they also employ alternative certified teachers. Sometimes those private schools will reach out to us and say, we need to have access to the system. And we take care of those as they go. But if it's showing up on your list, but you don't have any staff there, I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Crystal, there's also some questions about seeing staff on the district roll report that no longer are in their district and how to handle those.
So mentioned that at the very beginning of this, you need to go through, this is something that we've been talking about as soon as we launched the KEX system. HR needs to go through, HR directors, superintendent designees, superintendents all have access to staff management feature. You need to go through, run your district roll reports at the district level and at the school level, and click on the red trash can to the far right to remove them from your staff roles if they are no longer employed in your district. This is a one-time cleanup in many cases, because coming over from the old legacy system, people that were only marked inactive but not necessarily indated in that district, their records came over and they show up wherever they were last employed. They might be showing up when your district rolls. When you click on the red trash can, it's not deleting them altogether from our system or your system. It's just removing them from the active staff role. You're not going to hurt anything by clicking that red trash can. On the other hand, if you are not seeing people on your staff roles who should be there, if you've got a certified, if you got a new DPP or something and they're not showing up on in your district staff, at the district level filter, you need to click on add district staff and add that person if they are a certified staff member. Same at the school level. If you've got a teacher that you just hired, they need to be added, or they can be added as a staff role at the school level where they're employed. And that will help when you run other reports, like your expiring certificate reports or your active certificate reports. For those of you that are also the HR people, those reports are only as accurate as your staff roles are. So if you don't have everybody listed at your school and district level that are actually working in your district and in your schools, then those reports are not going to be pulling accurate information. Once you do this one time kind of big cleanup, each year it's recommended that you do it at the end of the school year, like maybe after you've done your staffing changes, or if you've pink slipped some teachers, or at the beginning of the school year, after you've gotten through all your hiring, go through and add and remove staff who have joined your district or are no longer at your district.
And I'll say too, because this came up as a question, is that if you are seeing someone in your lead data, so lead reporting and your staff in KEX are two separate things. If you see someone in lead that does not work for you, it's most likely an issue with that EPSB ID. So we don't know for sure if that person, like who the person is. We just know that the EPSB ID is there and it matches to an EPSB ID in KEX, and we display the name of that person. So if someone's in lead that doesn't belong there, then look at that EPSB ID and make sure that that's correct.
Right. And I'm going to send out this the PowerPoint and these other links. As soon as we get the recording link available, I'm going to put together a lead coordinator email, and I'm going to send this out later today. So this recording and the other information I talked about, a copy of the PowerPoint, a link to Tuesday the 18th virtual office hours. Hopefully Zoom will be working appropriately then. Leslie, I'll get with you and make sure that the link that you sent me for Tuesday the 18th is displays the correct date and time.
Yeah, I've already changed it. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, good. So, yes, to Sandra, it is okay to list a teacher under district if they have multiple school assignments. You can either list them at all the schools where they're working, or you can list them district level. Okay. Anything else? We're a little bit over, but I know we got started a little bit late due to technical difficulties. So if you've hung on this long, thank you very much. And we will send this information out to you later.